In the captivating world of entertainment, marriages can sometimes be as fleeting as a passing trend. Join us as Facts First presents the shortest old Hollywood marriages that ended almost immediately. Barbara Ford and Robert Walker. Barbara Ford and Robert Walker's marriage, which took place from July 8, 1948 to December 16, 1948, was a short-lived and tumultuous union. The events leading to their marriage and the subsequent reasons for its abrupt end shed light on the challenges they both faced. Prior to marrying Barbara, Robert Walker had experienced a significant setback in his personal life. His first wife, Jennifer Jones, divorced him to marry producer David O. Selznick. This divorce seemed to have a profound impact on Walker, leading him down a path of self-destruction. According to the book Catherine the Great by Darwin Porter, Walker struggled with alcohol abuse and engaged in self-destructive behavior, suggesting that he never fully recovered from the emotional aftermath of the divorce. The relationship between Barbara Ford and Robert Walker developed rapidly, with the couple knowing each other for only 5 or 6 weeks before tying the knot. They reportedly met at the home of Joanne Drew and Dick Hames, as mentioned in Ronald Davis's book John Ford, Hollywood's Old Master. During their courtship, many observed that Walker appeared to be a changed man, happier and more motivated to work. However, their whirlwind romance quickly turned sour. It's alleged that just 5 weeks after their wedding, Walker, still grappling with the pain of his divorce from Jennifer Jones, began physically abusing Barbara, who was the daughter of renowned director John Ford. This revelation is from Scott Allen Nolan's book, 3 Bad Men, John Ford, John Wayne, Ward Bond. The abuse led to tensions within the Ford family, with Ward Bond, a close friend of John Ford, expressing his desire to physically confront Walker. Ford, however, managed to dissuade Bond from taking any violent action. Despite John Ford's initial reservations about their marriage and his hopes that Barbara would instead marry Harry Carey Jr., the union between Barbara Ford and Robert Walker ultimately reached its breaking point. The marriage ended in divorce a mere 5 months after the wedding. Jane Greer and Rudy Vallee. The marriage between Jane Greer, formerly known as Betty Jane Greer, and Rudy Vallee, which took place from December 2, 1943 to July 27, 1944, was a brief but eventful chapter in their lives. The circumstances leading up to their union, the challenges they faced during their marriage, and the subsequent divorce reveal insights into their relationship dynamics. Before achieving stardom, Jane became Rudy's third wife. Vallee, a popular crooner, was working as a band leader for the Coast Guard during World War II. It was during this time that Greer found fame as she modeled the new Women's Army Corps uniform for national magazines. Vallee, upon seeing her pictures, reached out to her and suggested that she come to Hollywood. Reportedly, Vallee even helped secure a contract for Greer with Howard Hughes. But it wasn't until 1945 that Greer made her debut in a film. Once she arrived in Hollywood, Vallee took on the role of her manager. Their professional collaboration soon developed into a romantic relationship. An August 20, 1943 INS brief called Rudy Vallee to Wed After War announced their engagement, with Vallee expressing his intention to marry Betty Jane Greer once the war ended. He claimed that Greer had been his pinup girl ever since he saw her picture on a magazine cover. The couple exchanged vows in 1943, marrying before the war ended. However, their marital bliss was short-lived. In March of 1944, Greer filed for divorce. She was quoted as saying, "There's something about the possessiveness of marriage that hasn't worked out with us. We were much happier when we were just going together." Despite the decision to divorce, both parties proclaimed their continued love for each other. Vallee further elaborated, saying, "We will continue to see each other a great deal, but marriage seemed unwise at this particular time." Notably, Greer didn't request alimony. In court, she testified that Vallee had called her beautiful but dumb. Greer, however, expressed her deep affection for Vallee, saying, quote, "I loved Rudy very much and tried to make a go of our marriage, but it was no use." In response, Vallee spoke highly of Greer, saying, "Betty Jane is one of the finest persons I have ever known." Marie Windsor and Ted Steele. On April 21, 1946, talented actress Marie Windsor, known for her captivating performances, tied the knot with band leader Ted Steele in her hometown of Marysville, Utah. A brief published April 19, 1946, announced their nuptials, shedding light on their excitement as they embarked on their journey. But even from the early stages of their union, signs of challenges emerged. According to the brief, Windsor and Steele encountered difficulty finding a suitable place to call home. So they decided to continue living with their former roommates, possibly due to the scarcity of available housing options at the time. This predicament hinted at the practical obstacles they faced as newlyweds, which could have placed a strain on their relationship. Unfortunately, the union between Windsor and Steele proved short-lived. In 1947, their marriage was annulled, marking a premature end to their shared journey. The reasons behind this dissolution remain unknown, leaving room for speculation and curiosity. It's possible that irreconcilable differences or unforeseen challenges arose, prompting the couple to make the difficult decision to end the marriage. The circumstances surrounding their annulment remain shrouded in mystery, leaving room for speculation. Lana Turner and Artie Shaw. In a twist of fate, two iconic figures of the entertainment industry, Lana Turner and Artie Shaw, crossed paths on the set of the film Dancing Co-ed, but their initial encounter didn't spark flames of romance, as they found themselves at odds with one another. Lana, a talented actress, saw Shaw, a renowned musician, as arrogant and excessively serious. Conversely, Shaw dismissed Lana as a brainless star. Little did they know that their paths would converge once more, leading to a whirlwind romance that ultimately ended in a tumultuous and short-lived marriage. Despite their initial clash of personalities, fate intervened when Shaw, undeterred by Lana's previous rejections, mustered up the courage to ask her out once more. Coincidentally, he made that call on a night when another suitor had stood Lana up. Seizing the opportunity, she accepted. Shaw, determined to woo her, whisked her away on a spontaneous trip to Santa Monica. It was during this outing that he revealed his life philosophies, captivating Lana's interest and opening a door to deeper connection and understanding. On the evening of February 13, 1940, just after their Santa Monica rendezvous, Lana and Shaw embarked on an impulsive journey to Vegas, where they exchanged vows in a hasty wedding ceremony. But the starlet soon discovered she had married a stranger, unaware of Shaw's two previous marriages. Nevertheless, she committed to making their union work. But their stark differences and irreconcilable issues swiftly emerged, leading to constant fighting and discord. Their marriage, which began February of 1940, ended 4 months and 11 days later. Shaw's relentless desire to mold Lana into someone she wasn't became a significant point of contention. Quote, "He was only interested in trying to change me completely," Lana lamented, revealing the depth of their marital struggles. As the divorce proceedings unfolded, a surprising revelation emerged. Lana discovered she was pregnant, but Shaw, casting doubt on the paternity, refused to believe the child was his. She made the difficult decision to undergo an abortion, a choice that Shaw did not intervene to prevent. Now it's time to hear from you. Which one of these marriages was the most surprising to hear about? Let us know in the comments section below.